Everybody just get some coffee and calm down. If you haven't got the brand new Paul Begley cup, Are You Serious Boulevard, Jesus Saves, you can get it now at my website. Let me put a shout out right now. We got breaking news happening right now in four different things that could fry your mind, no pun intended. Here's the deal. If you're over 40 and you're planning to retire someday, that window to protect what you've built may be smaller than you realize. Here's a question most people never ask. Is your portfolio built for what's coming next? Many investors in their 40s and 50s have discovered they have little to no exposure to precious metals at all. That means their savings are largely just tied to the stock market or to policies or paper assets, and with very little protection if conditions change. As retirement moves from someday to on the horizon, protecting what you've already built becomes just as important as growing it. And I'm serious about this. Why? At Noble Gold, they can come to the rescue here. They can help you at www.pastorpaulgold.com or call them on the phone at 877-646-5347. I have a link below the video. Right now may be a smart time for you to start talking to Noble Gold. Why? Because gold, a biblical currency, is at all-time high and going higher. So is silver. No pressure here. No sales gimmicks. Just clear answers and a strategy built around your goals. Find out how you can at www.pastorpaulgold.com. And guys, trust me, you'll be glad that you did. And if you qualify for a gold or silver IRA, they'll help you. They'll give you this beautiful Thomas Jefferson coin that's 3 ounces of silver. This thing's heavy. It's 3 ounces of silver. And silver right now is at $94 an ounce. Free gift. That's nice of them at Noble Gold. God bless. All right. Now, here's what's happening. Several things, but let's just start with the Holy Land first. Boy, this webinar coming up couldn't be more on time. A right now word, and the speakers are dynamic. The information will blow your mind, and it's Friday. You're just what? 3 days away. Get the tickets, guys. Get the tickets today so we can set this thing up. I want to get you on the list with your link, ready to release Friday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Well, we may be talking about a lot of things by Friday night on this webinar. Israel, right now, has been using cranes and bulldozers, demolishing the United Nations Palestinian Agency in East Jerusalem at that compound. Israel demolished it today. This is a UN building, but Israel demolished the structure inside the UN Palestinian Agency in East Jerusalem. We have a dog barking on today after they seized the site last year in an act condemned by the UN, but who cares? Because Israel's saying, look, the United Nations was involved, is complicit with the attack on Israel on October 7th, 2023. And so especially the connections over there in East Jerusalem. So surrounded by Israeli forces, bulldozers razed several large buildings and other smaller structures inside the UN and the United Nations Relief and Works Agency compound in East Jerusalem, where dozens of agency staff used to work for the UN. The Reuters reports that it was an incredible sight to see. UNRWA or UNRWA, which has been accused of bias by Israel and complicit to the attack on Israel, hasn't used the building since last year when Israel ordered that it be vacated, everyone off that premises. And Israel has seized the location and now destroyed the structure. A spokesperson for UNRWA said that Israeli forces entered the compound at 7 o'clock this morning, forced out the compound security guards from the UN, and brought in their bulldozers and began demolishing the building inside. The UNRWA leader, the head of UNRWA, Philippe Lazanri, condemned the demolition in a statement on X, calling it a new level of open, deliberate defiance of international law. He said it was the latest of a series of Israeli actions against UNRWA, including a raid on their medical clinic this month and a plan to cut the power and all the water off to all the UNRWA facilities in the next coming weeks. In other words, UNRWA, get out of our country. Get out of the country. And this is the United Nations Relief Agency that's a part. It's another subsidiary of the UN, but it's just full of corruption. And Israel's tired of it. They're tired of these guys were participating, helping Hamas. And so they got to go. And they're gone. Okay? It's Israel's country. The United Nations doesn't run Israel. Israel runs Israel. Okay? And that's the truth with any nation. While that was going on in Ukraine and Russia, the latest on this situation, President Zelensky of Ukraine says that the United States can do more to stop Putin if they would. Now, President Trump invited Vladimir Putin to be on the board of peace for the Gaza restructuring. And he also asked Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine, would he like to be on the board of peace for this Gaza restructuring, which I found to be just wild. But Zelensky reportedly said, no, I don't want to be on the board because I wouldn't want to be on a board with Putin. And the Zelensky also said, I'm not going to Davos to the World Economic Forum because I had a large-scale attack on our capital here in Kiev. Russia hit us with 336 killer drones and 33 missiles, doing significant damage to our infrastructure, and the people are freezing, and the water's off, and the power's off to 30% of the capital, and I can't just leave and go and sit around and talk to people. So I need help, and I'm willing to do a peace arrangement, and Putin needs to agree to it. Well, the Ukrainian president said that he is going to prioritize staying at the capital instead of going to the World Economic Forum, saying that he will only go to Davos if President Trump calls for him to come and sit down and meet with him. Zelensky told reporters, everything can change at any moment. If Trump calls, I'll go. But right now, I hope that means the end of this war. He said that Ukraine and the United States have almost finished all their preparations for the prosperity package and ending of the war. If only Trump could get Putin to do the same and stop attacking us and stop the war. He added that Ukraine, as well as Russia, had been invited to join Trump's board of peace, as I said, but he felt it was hard to imagine how Kiev and Moscow could be sitting on the same board. It comes after 335,000 residents in Kiev are without electricity right now, like I said, after the attacks. And the dog is barking. And that's Benji, because he sees out the window. He sees issues. So there you have it. There's been progress here, but you know what? Trump has moved everything I think he can in this, but he can't make Putin agree. Okay. And that's where we're at. Okay. Putin's not ready to agree. It don't matter how much everybody else is ready. Okay. And I'm gonna have to move this dog out of here. Benji's just being a really good watchdog. He's trying every way in the world to make sure everything's safe for me out here, and maybe he should. Okay, and but anyway, so that's what's going on with this situation with the Russia war. Now, while that's happening, the same time Israel's tearing down the United Nations building in East Jerusalem, the sun exploded, of course, with that massive X flare. It was an X2 class solar flare. But here's the thing. It was facing the earth. So we got hit yesterday with an incredible CME, corona mass ejection. I'm going to show you the radiation levels, high, and what it did. If you look at this form, you can see the blue. That was January 19th by the hour, the levels that we were experiencing from the sun. That's today. Look at the red bars and the yellow bars. Massive, it's massive CMEs that are hitting us right now. Matter of fact, last night during the night, that sky, I'm going to show you the sky. That's the sky over France. Literally, the aurora was so powerful that it just was red and golden. Red and golden. Now, this is one of the things that Mike Around the World has been telling us, that the sun, that we're going to be seeing more and more sunsets that are going to look more golden. And that has to do with the activity on the sun and the fact that our ozone here on Earth is weakened, and also our magnetosphere around the Earth is very weakened. And we're being inundated now. We really are. So when you see these beautiful, beautiful auroras in different parts of the world, and they saw auroras here in America last night and the night before, they were just incredible, all the way down into Alabama. This is happening more and more frequently, that the auroras are no longer up there just in Canada and maybe Minnesota. Now it's moving all the way down, all the way. It's just incredible. And so France really got hit with some incredible amount of CMEs. Now, while the new moon provided a dark sky for long exposure photography, it still didn't, you can't, this is just unbelievable. I'm going to show you another picture here. This was over Germany, and you can see this area right here where it looks like it's blue. That's actually a real green area in the sky. You can see there was some golden, some red, there was some green. That was over Germany. Again, incredible amounts of radiation that's hitting the earth right now. And the hole on the sun, the atmospheric hole on the sun is enormous. I mean, it's beyond enormous. It's just insanity how big it is. And it's just all that radiation, UV rays. That's why the sun is feeling hotter. I'm telling you, the sun is more intense right now than we've ever had it. And even though it's in the winter and you don't realize it, there is incredible amounts of radiation and UV rays and cosmic rays that are coming off the sun. Our magnetosphere shield is very weak. And CERN, the last thing we need is CERN to be burning, and we're learning that we're yearning for the CERN to stop, to turn the thing off. What are they doing? But we're dealing with all kinds of stuff. Now, speaking of Davos and the World Economic Forum, which President Trump said, I'm going. I'm understanding he wasn't really even invited. He just said, I'm going. Because he said, people need to understand, we have to have Greenland. This is really not up for debate. We have to have it to protect the Western Hemisphere and the West, so that Russia and China, especially Russia, don't try to set up shop there. They're going to do it, and we can't. We're building a golden dome, is what he's saying, over top of the Americas, Canada, the United States, and even Mexico. This golden dome is to protect the Americas from a nuclear attack. Guys, we're in World War III, whether we like it or not, and everybody's now positioning, getting assets and technologies in place in case somebody wants to push the green button. As resources, as currencies are being challenged, as gold and silver is literally being gathered, as currencies are teetering, everybody, the BRIC nations are trying to destroy the G7, and the G7 is trying to destroy the BRIC nations' currencies. And when you get to a certain point, that resources get on the line, then people get desperate and military action begins to come into play. And so you just got to know we are on a collision course toward what's called in the Bible the sixth trumpet war, which is in Revelation chapter 9. And that's why I wrote the book, Revelation 9:11. I just signed an autographed copy, and it's going to be going out today. And if you want to get an autographed copy, you just go to my website and order it, and I'll personally sign it and send you a personal note as I feel led of the Lord to write to you and ship the book to you personally. Or just go right now to Amazon and order it right now. Order 5 copies. Keep one for yourself, give 4 away because of the prophetic information, the scriptures, the events, what's happening, what I saw coming. Part of what I saw coming has already now happened. A lot of it is in play right now. This is why this book is so important. That's why Troy Anderson and I got together. It took us 2 years to write the book, to put the information in there, but it is filled with tremendous prophetic information and current events. And it's in the book of Revelation, chapter 9. It tells you that Apollyon will come out of the bottomless pit, but it's more than just that. It also tells you that Apollyon releases the 4 fallen angels that are under the river Euphrates. And the river Euphrates runs through Babylon. And Babylon runs through 4 countries. And that's Turkey and Iraq and Syria and Iran. It dumps into the Persian Gulf. And so I believe those 4 fallen angels represents all 4 of those nations. Each nation will get that principality. And that creates World War III, or what the Bible calls the sixth trumpet war. That's in the same chapter. Revelation 9 never gets talked about by most prophecy experts because they just want to jump straight to the rapture and let's get out of here. But we better read the book. I'm ready to go, but he hasn't come yet. So maybe we should read the book about the warnings of the events that lead up before the rapture. And I'm not talking pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib. I'm saying God hasn't appointed us to wrath. We already know that. We're out of here before the wrath of God is poured out. But before he comes, there's some things that are happening that have got to happen and are going to happen. And that's why you wonder why you're sitting around right now, twiddling your thumbs, wondering why you're still here. It's because there's prophecies that haven't been fulfilled yet. And I'd be crazy not to, I know what they are. I'd be crazy not to share them with you. Matter of fact, it'd be more than that. God would hold me accountable for that. And I don't care who gets angry about it or mad about it. Only wants to challenge it. It's in the book. What do you want me to do? It's in the Bible. Go read Matthew 24. Go read Mark 13, Luke 21. Study the book of Daniel. Study the book of Revelation. Study the book of Zechariah. Read the Old Testament prophecies that Jeremiah and Hosea and Joel and Amos and the other minor prophets, and tie it into the New Testament scriptures that Paul wrote about in the book of 2 Peter 3 and in 2 Thessalonians 2 and other scriptures, and just tie it together. It's there. In other words, urgent. Christ is coming, and the beast is coming too. And this webinar could not be at a more important time. But let me tell you a little bit about Donald Trump. So Trump is planning to give the key address tomorrow. They're going to let him speak, of course. And he's going to try to convince the American nations that he can make housing more affordable. But more importantly, he's going to talk to while he's talking to the Americans about how he can make housing more affordable, which is important to discuss at the World Economic Forum because it requires cooperation, not just by the American politicians, but by the global community. Trump is going to talk to the World Economic Forum at the annual gathering. He's going to talk to the global elitist, which he's not part of the club. He's not part of any of those secret societies, but he's going to address these guys. And he's going to say, look, there's a lot of billionaires sitting around here, but we need to understand what's happening in the planet. Trump is saying that at the end of the day, that the investors that are at Davos who have his attention and need to understand that the world is in trouble if it doesn't address key issues. And that includes the conflict going on in Gaza, the restructuring of Gaza, and the peace initiative of the Middle East, and why the Board of Peace is so important to establishing peace. And I've got a meeting I got to be at in 2 minutes. So he's going to talk about that. He's going to talk about why he's got to acquire Greenland. He's going to talk about why we have to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. He's just going to talk about all the key issues, and he don't want everybody all mad. He just said, look, we got to get real. So, guys, seriously, we're running out of time. Literally, I'm running out of time on this video, and I'll be back with more right here on the Coming Apocalypse. Are you serious?